Yo, what's up? It's your boy Currency 365. Hope you guys are doing well. Legends never die, they stay in our hearts. If you want to support us, click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and also you can come down here and hit the join button under the video or in our channel section. And you can also join our Patreon, patreon.com/currency365. And we also have Cash App and also PayPal for support if you want to sow some seeds. Peace out. God bless. Enjoy the video and keep the movement going. Legends. Bye.
That sounds great, and I love how you're trying to, provide a catalyst for developments, and not just on the Flow network, but the space as a whole, right?
Mhm.
Okay, let's finish up with Nick from Menosis. I know you guys got a pretty ambitious roadmap, so maybe share some details about what we can expect from Menosis this year.
Yeah, definitely. It's a long list of things. However, I will try to keep it as short as possible. So to start with, we will continue on the focus that we had during the end of the last year, which is bringing new liquidity onto the Flare network and bringing more assets and other protocols essentially to be able to live and exist on the Flare network, and for other builders to be able to utilize those assets. Of course, also we're quite eager to expand our product offerings to other networks as well, and we have been working on that for several months already, on how exactly that would look like and which would be those networks precisely. And then from there on, we're working on launching a concentrated liquidity DEX on the Flare network. Obviously, we will follow, as always, our development process, which is starting with Custom, going to Songbird, and then to Flare. And the goal there is to allow higher capital efficiency on the network to support agents and liquidations, which will come with the F-asset system. And of course, support other protocols out there, which, as we know, quite some have joined us lately to build on the Flare network. So a more efficient, capital efficient DEX is something that is important for everybody in the ecosystem. The API cloud launch is something that we anticipate to happen during 2024. I would say late Q2, somewhere around that time. And from there on, we have been working a lot on new partnerships and upcoming partners around both Flare network, but overall Enosis, which would be mostly focused, I would say for now, our focus mostly is around Hermes. The best example for that is the SushiSwap collaboration, which I mentioned before. And of course, the Clover protocol, where we already have quite some partners from the real world coming to the Flare network essentially, and utilizing that tool in order to distribute their first assets, their first real world assets on chain. And last but not least, we have been working a lot on Scopus. You can see that from our latest updates on the UI of all of our dApps. We have been focusing a lot on analytics and in general, how to provide an easier way for our users to understand how our system works, the magnitude of the transactions, what is happening day to day, what fees are flowing to the API cloud, and so on. And for, of course, others to be able to use those same endpoints, which we have been utilizing across Gallery and the DEX and so on and so forth. So Yeah, I would say that is a very short overview. Of course, there's many other things that I would love to expand on, but maybe another time. Very excited about what is coming to Flare in terms of features. So yeah, it will be a fantastic year for all of us, I believe, here.
Yeah, definitely. It seems like, all of the guests here today are really bringing the energy into 2024, and I'm definitely excited to see what's going to be built this year. And I am acutely aware of the time, and I know Hugo does want to have a little bit of a talk about more of the fundamental things that are happening on the Flare network. So maybe we can just do a round of, I guess, an open discussion about. Um, what are the upcoming trends within the crypto market? If you have any ideas or you want to share, please feel free to chip in, and then we'll maybe round this up and move on to the details from Hugo about what we can expect from the Flare network moving forward. So, does anyone have any ideas about the upcoming trends in the crypto market that you're particularly excited about? I mean, for me, it has to be interoperability and removing these walled gardens between blockchains and bringing communities together, right? We're all here for the same reason, right? And I think a lot of people have this maximalist mentality where, it's coin versus coin, but at the end of the day, we can all thrive as one. And I think the Flare network is going to be the perfect environment to sort of showcase that, where all networks can really or all assets can really flourish together and use common applications. So, yes, I see Banik with your hand up. You can go first.
Yeah, I totally agree on that take, and I definitely would like to add to that with new tools being in talks and on focus of a lot of extremely smart people out there is account abstraction, which would definitely allow for many more users from everyday life to interact with blockchain. Of course, as builders, we would need to be quite responsible on what kind of things we provide on what kind of level of users, and hopefully regulations would help with that with time. But yeah, account abstraction and interoperability, sorry, there are two things that I'm definitely pretty excited, because if you connect the dots, especially with what is going on the Flare network, you can see an omni-chain user experience that we have been discussing through our history for quite a long time, where you can be on any network. It doesn't really matter to the user. They can interact with BTC, with Flare, with Arbitrum, with whatever it is on under one place. No need for all those extra complicated steps.
Yeah, I think it's about the ease of use for the user, right? Well, you don't necessarily need to be going to different websites to interact with dApps that are deployed on other chains. You literally just, it should be as seamless as possible. Cannon, I see you've got your hand up.
Yo, yeah, I agree with you guys. It's good points that you raise. I could add to that RWA, tokenization of real world assets. This has been going on. Like I've been noticing it since 2023, and it seems like in 2024 it's going to be a real trend that just continues. Because we're going to notice that institutions are going to scale up their blockchain-based markets, tokenize more real-world assets, financial instruments too, and also enable liquidity to flow between various DLT and existing systems. And I think that's somewhere where Flare could fit in properly and neatly with bringing with flowing this data between each other. But yeah, very excited about that. I'm also excited about obviously NFTs, but beyond art, I think we'll notice more industries, real estate, gaming, intellectual property, all expand NFT use cases in 2024. So I'm guessing it's going to unlock new opportunities for creators and also investors. But yeah, no, it's exciting.
Yeah, and you mentioned NFTs, and I think the NFT space has really matured since the days of crypto kitties and bored apes, right? Where we're seeing this more focus on utility. And I speak on behalf of Blockbones when I say about dynamic NFTs, because I think there are some use cases there to be had, and a lot of people had this misconception where NFTs had to represent something that is static, right? It doesn't change, but with the idea of dynamic NFTs, it really unlocks new functionalities, and not just in terms of artwork, but something that I can see moving forward is maybe things like car history, right? Where you purchase a car and then you know the owners, you know the MOTs and all of the services and all of the changes that have happened to a particular car, but it's actually represented as an NFT. I think dynamic NFTs really have a future in a part to play in our future. Go on, Banik, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, definitely. I would like to add on the side of RWAs, obviously, and the dynamic NFT aspect of things. There are definitely multiple companies out there that we have been talking to that are quite interested in both. So a couple that I can mention is definitely Red Bull Racing with the Velocity series that we did recently, where they introduced a series of hats essentially, which are redeemable or are gonna be redeemable through essentially the Hermes protocol, and people who own those would be able to get a Red Bull Racing hat essentially with an NFT attached to it. And that is something that we did in the real world at the Formula One event in Texas. We gave away essentially hats that users could claim the NFT after actually getting the actual hat, right? So that is one aspect of things. The other aspect of things would be, I would say, besides collectible, the fashion industry. And a specific example that I can give is the Dior B33 launch, which I'm very familiar with personally. So they have an amazing team who essentially did what you're describing. They are providing all the information around the shoe, from where it was produced to what kind of materials were used and where the materials are from, and all that data are followed by the NFT on chain essentially. So there's quite some industries and huge companies out there who we proudly have been talking to and seeing what they're interested in, and that's how essentially the entire idea behind Hermes protocol is evolving right now.
Very nice. Hugo, I see you got your hand up.
I think as we're on this specific section, I'll chip in crypto trends in 2024. And as we have two speakers here from big data platforms, Covalent and Subsquid, there's a particular thing that I'm interested in. I'll ask a trick question. In the Flare ecosystem, which of you is using on-chain artificial intelligence? No need to answer, because the answer is pretty much all of you. If you're either using it or you're participating in on-chain artificial intelligence, you're doing that through the FTSO. The FTSO is technically an artificial intelligence, or more formally, a machine learning model. It's what's known as an ensemble machine learning model, whereby each party contributing, and that's an FTSO data provider, they're running a model off-chain, some kind of machine learning model, to figure out what price they should submit within the game that is the full model itself. It's then weighted by your delegations and eventually by your stake to create an ensemble model of a price, in this case, 15 prices. What interests me most, and the trend that I think is going to be most exciting in 2024, a new use case, is being able to do AI with blockchain, or do ML with blockchain, and provide interesting use cases around that. There's some very interesting aspects that we've been thinking about. I won't pre-release it now, but for me, Flare is already basically at the cutting edge of AI and blockchain. We're literally using it every 3 minutes. Um, Flare is itself a network of which one of the fundamental pieces is a collaborative AI model with entities that are trying to cheat the model, cheat the game, and it has proven to be robust. And that is a model more generally for AI and how AI can be implemented in blockchain in the presence of malicious actors. So actually using a consensus layer with off-chain AI models presents some very, very interesting things, which we've been observing, thinking about how to extend. We have a pretty comprehensive vision for that, which we will be releasing before not too long. So just wanted to kind of tease where our vision's going.
Yeah, so very interesting, Hugo. And you talk about machine learning and artificial intelligence quite a lot. And obviously, the Flat Time Series Oracle, as you just mentioned, is a key focus on that. I'm intrigued to know if you're planning to integrate any sort of machine learning into products outside of the scope of the FTSO. And when I say you, I mean meaning Flare Labs, right? Do you have
Oh,
any applications in the works?
so I think Flare as the network for data more generally um, for the whole crypto ecosystem is also at the same time something bigger, which is a substrate for machine learning. So if you think about FTSO as a single product that is the output is a price, and the you know it's a collaborative AI model essentially. I think that whole structure of how the FTSO has been built can be replicated for n number of different AI models.
Powerful stuff, and I think with version 2 on the horizon, it's only going to get better. But I think it's about time that maybe we can jump into your side of things, Hugo. And before we do, I'd just like to thank all of the guests that have come up today and shared, what a great 2023 we've had, and also a lot of the things that we can expect in 2024. Please do feel free to give them a follow if you are in the audience, and just to make sure you're up to date with everything that they're building. Um, yeah, Hugo. So, you know, obviously 2023 was big, but I really think that 2024 is going to be the best year yet for Fleur. You've stated previously about all of the protocols that you want to release, not just on Quaston and Songbird, but have them fully functioning on the Flare network too. But before we jump into that kind of thing, do you want to maybe have a bit of a recap on maybe some of the metrics that have been that we've seen in 2023 for the Flare network, with it being the 1 year anniversary?
Absolutely. So, we've got about 435,000 wallets, of which I think about 120,000 of which are pretty active. We probably have roughly about 5 million token holders, which is quite, pretty good for our stage of development. Looking obviously to massively ramp that up this year. We have about 10% of the total Flare staked, so about 3 billion staked to 82 validators. And between wrapped, delegated, and staked, that comes to about 76% of the entire supply. So, it's been a very good year. We were very excited to launch staking. I think I have a couple of favorite moments or events from this year. Obviously TDE was massively enjoyable for myself and the whole team. I remember this time last year I was sitting in basically a rented office in Slovenia because we didn't have a big enough office to actually do the TDE call from. The entire team was sitting around, sitting just off camera. I started the presentation and I immediately got a text message from someone saying, "Why are you so serious? This is a joyful event." And I was like, okay, perhaps I should relax now. Getting to the shipping point was, hard, painful, but sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and get it done. And I'm very glad we did. Um, Obviously then immediately getting listed by, some of the OG exchanges, the biggest exchanges in the space. I think, broadly the listing strategy has been, extremely successful. I think that'll pick up as the year goes forward. FIPO1 was excellent. I think it has served the community as I expected it would do. As we put forward the proposal, and it was nice to see governance work and for many people to participate and for that to happen using the Flare token to people to be able to express their opinion through the Flare token. I'm looking forward to governance more properly rolling out. Renegotiating with the investors in the light of FIP01 so that they didn't overly benefit from FIP01 was an absolute highlight of the year. It was good to be able to do that for the community. That was very important to me. And it was a very painful process to do that, but absolutely necessary. Having all the dApps that have come to the network, we've really seen massive interest in what we're doing. The data component of Flare really does pick up a lot of interest from developers. A lot of the time we talk to people and they're like, "Oh wow, this actually makes sense. Someone's doing data properly in blockchain." And that gives us great conviction in doing what we're doing, and it gives us really good feedback that we should continue doing what we're doing and do it even better than we're currently doing it, which is nice. It's also really nice to have developers come to you and talk about what you're doing and actually be genuinely enthusiastic and not just farming grants, because there's lots of chains and lots of people can go to any chain, but they come to us because we're doing something that they literally cannot get elsewhere because the existing data protocols are fairly weak, fairly centralized. And so we're going much harder on data, as I think I've put forward before. So that's been some of the highlights of the year. Obviously, all the new community members, the people that have built dashboards and ecosystem maps and all that kind of stuff. It's been bloody amazing to watch that roll out and for this whole thing to grow, organically to a large extent. 2024, I've just asked our team to have a t-shirt made saying Flare 2024 ship everything. So I am looking forward to this year very much. So I think that brings us on to kind of what I'm expecting from 2024, and that is, we recently launched staking. Maybe not that recently, but feels relatively recently. We launched staking phase 2. We will be launching staking phase 3, but that's actually going to be at the end of the cycle of the things we're going to put out. So as I've said a few times, I want absolutely everything, that we've sort of expressed things we want to build. I want all of that shipped, pretty much way before the end of the year, because I want the whole functionality of Flare to expand, and I want it to realize, I want to be able to realize the potential of what Flare offers to the development community and to community, token holders and ecosystem participants. So what does that encompass? Another favorite moment this year leads on to what that encompasses, which was when we figured out how it might be possible to handle 1,000 price series, 1,000 data series essentially, with potentially one block updates. So that goes to, if the first thing, one of the first things I really want to ship this year is FTSO scaling. being able to do, a much, much larger number of data series much, much faster is incredibly exciting. Opens up, many, many avenues um, for DApp developers, way beyond just traditional crypto assets, but also potentially equities or, really any data series, any time series. That to me is, most exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing that roll out. Then obviously the Flare data connector, which encompasses the web connector and the state connector. So the state connector is for Web3 data. The web connector is obviously for Web2 data, being able to prove very, very large amounts of information from other blockchains and from the internet onto Flare so that a dApp can consume that information and it can trigger something in a smart contract such that a user, such that a user action happens. This is very exciting to me. Frankly, it brings new functionality, especially the Web 2 component brings, new functionality to the marketplace. And the Web 3 component, I think, is unrivaled in terms of how it's being built and the scale of which it can operate. So that's really, so we start with the FTSO, and then there's the Flare data connector, which is the web connector and the state connector. Then obviously F assets, near and dear to my heart. They're already in beta on Coston. I can't wait to see those on Songbird. I want to watch the community grow around the F assets. Again, it's going to be done in stages so that it's done in a way that the community can engage with the protocol, that the participants in the protocol can learn how it works, learn how to manage their role in that protocol, and then rolled out bigger and stronger throughout 2024. I think there'll be some learnings from the initial version of it on Coston, and then learnings from when it goes live on Songbird, which will end up being the final version of F assets that goes onto Flare. Of course, Layer Cake. Most excited about Layer Cake. Opens up Flare to all the value within smart contract systems. Potentially can do a few other things like being able to do really complex transactions where you specify your transaction on one chain and it executes automatically on another chain. That's really very exciting. So this is where we're sort of putting all our focus and energy is, Layer Cake, F assets, FTSO, and Flare data connector. So I hope that's enough to be getting on with.
It certainly sounds like it. I think you've definitely got a busy year ahead of you. And I just wanted to maybe remind the community as well about, Hugo, you was talking about F assets coming to the Coston test network first. And I know that the Enosis workflow involves Coston as well. It's really important for the community to engage with these new protocols and applications on the Coston test network, because it allows the developers to really analyze the data and maybe catch some edge cases before it goes into or onto a network with real value, like the Songbird network or the Flare network. But yeah, this is it's an exciting year, Hugo, and like you said, there's a lot to look forward to. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I'm sure everyone in the audience is as well. Looks like we've got some great applications that are being built, and hopefully a lot of them start integrating some of these novel protocols that Flare offer.
100%. I think there's some very interesting partnerships that I've seen in the brewing this year. There's some people that have approached us about how to use the FTSO, certain products they could build with it, particularly exciting. I'm excited about the Flare data connector, the ability to use the data connector to relay out to other chains so we can serve the FTSO prices to other chains, which allows the community and the data providers to earn potentially from other chains. That that'll be very exciting when Flare can be providing services to the broader ecosystem. What else? So yeah, I think that's sort of where we're focusing. I'm obviously focusing quite hard on AI. I think that's very exciting. I think it's a new use case within the space. It's broadly not, massively developed in blockchain today, and there's no good reason why it should be. Blockchains have not been the obvious things that you want to do in AI and are not obvious things with blockchain. We've been thinking a lot about, okay, how does blockchain make AI better? You have to find a need for these things. And we think that the collaborative aspect of the FTSO provides an extremely good model for making superior artificial intelligence.
Yeah, and artificial intelligence, it really relies on really accurate data, right? If you put bad data in, you're going to get bad data out. And
Yep.
I think the FTSO is a great reason, a great foundation to start upon to build these models, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I take the FTSO model more broadly than just that. The FTSO provides great data. FTSO provides great data because it's a great model. Now imagine taking the FTSO, the structure of the FTSO, and applying that to other types of model, applying that to other use cases.
Well, it seems like the possibilities are pretty much endless. Hugo, I am aware that we've maybe just overshot the time. I think the time boxed for 90 minutes. So maybe do you want to wrap up? Do you have any closing comments on what we can look forward to?
Oh, absolutely. I think you can look forward to an awful lot of shipping from, Flare Labs, from Flare Foundation, from all of the developers on Flare, all of the people who've built dApps on Flare. I think as FSX and Layer Cake come in, that'll provide, immediate utility. I think as the system expands and as the Flare network expands essentially to provide services to other chains, that will have two effects. One, it'll provide more opportunities for the community to essentially generate passive income through in collaboration with FTSOs and data providers. Essentially, they'll be able to service the needs of other chains, but using their Flare token, which is, I think, very exciting. And I think, I really look forward to seeing how, as the system expands, as it gets more useful, how developers, react to that and build new products.
Exciting times ahead. And I'd just like to thank you, Hugo, all of the speakers that have joined us today and taking the time out to come up and have a good chat. Everyone in the audience as well for staying along to listen. And you heard it from Hugo. Ship everything 2024. So with that said, I think let's wrap up here, Hugo. And thanks again for everything.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a great year, and thank you for coming on this journey with Flare.